Hey everybody, welcome to Kicking It in the Second Half, KISH YZ. We are bringing you a new topic. It's very spontaneous because I haven't actually planned out what we were going to do, but this topic is going to be called What Ifs. This is a What If segment. This is the first video of it. And what way to start off the first video in this segment on our channel than to have a special guest. I'm D, and today I have with me the Tavern Geek podcaster. He has a YouTube page under the same name. You can follow him on IG, on Twitter, under Tavern Geek. I'm also featured on his podcast at times, or most of the time, if they're talking about basketball, but he also talks about geek culture as well. Introduce yourself.
What's up, everybody? I'm Micah, the Tavern Geeker.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm happy to be here on Dee's show, the Kicking It in the Second Half, and this is going to be fun.
This is going to be fun, like you said, because we were just ready to hit record without really making any notes. So if I'm looking down, I don't know what I'm looking at. I have no notes. Like I said, we were just going to do this segment, and I was like, hey, if you want to jump on, we could start off with the what if. And just take it from there. So I think when we were talking before we hit the record button, we were talking about doing a what if on the Golden State Warriors, right, Micah?
Yeah, man.
So our what if topic is Golden State Warriors, and the what if scenario is, what if the Golden State Warriors could trade for Karl-Anthony Towns?
Ooh.
Any thoughts about that, Mike, or do you want me to give my opinion of what it would possibly take to get Karl-Anthony Towns, or what do you think?
Well, I have an idea of what it might take, but I'm really curious to hear what you have to say so I can validate what's going on in my brain better.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you time to process.
Man. Yeah, shoot.
Yeah, flow off the juices. Initially what I was saying was some type of scenario. I haven't looked at salary, so I don't know if this would work out or not, but I would just going off assumption here, something in a package where Golden State sends over, the big piece would be, in my opinion, James Wiseman, and you need some filler salary there. I would say maybe a Kelly Oubre, or I'm not sure how much salary you need. Maybe trying to convince them to take back Andrew Wiggins. I mean, could that be a thing? I'm not sure, but if you can push the envelope where, okay, we throw in Andrew Wiggins for salary cap purposes, but we'll throw in a pick. It might have to be a first rounder, even though you're throwing in the first rounder and James Wiseman. But you're talking about skipping forward ahead and bypassing steps of development when you're considering going into next season. If this were to happen in this 2021 off season, where Klay Thompson is expected back and healthy, you have Steph Curry, you have Draymond Green, the remaining three of that core of the championship runs, and you still have your depth and maybe a Kent Bazemore type of player, a Jordan Poole player, Toscano Anderson, just to name a few there. And then you throw in the monster, you throw in the big cat, and Karl-Anthony Towns as your follow-up to being one of the best centers in the league, and what he can bring to that team. I think you just immediately put yourself in contention for a title. And yeah, like I said, you just bypassed at least another 2 years of development with a player like James Wiseman and getting Karl-Anthony Towns over to Golden State. Oh, Micah, I'm not sure if I can hear you, buddy. You still here? Try it again. Uh-oh. I hear the movement a little bit.
What about now?
Yeah, there we go.
Weird.
That is weird. We're having some trippy accidents here. Like I said, this is completely spontaneous. So, and it's a nightcap episode because I just finished a few episodes with Hugh, but yeah, we're swinging in the dark a little bit, but this is the beginning of something new. Hopefully something special. like I said, we got our special guest here again. Michael, let's try that again. What are your thoughts? I hope you didn't lose anything there on that disruption.
I did not lose it. I'm excited. So yeah, what you were saying makes sense with what the Warriors have. So if we look at the team that the Warriors have currently, and you see that Draymond, we still have Draymond and Curry are not going anywhere, obviously. So, and then Klay Thompson's coming back from injury. So that's putting the big three back together that made the championship run previously. So then the thing is that the funny thing about that team that made that championship run without Kevin Durant, they had Harrison Barnes. He was good enough to help them get there.
For sure, the defense alone, that's what they
Yeah,
needed.
he's a good player. Of course, they had he moved off and they replaced him with Kevin Durant, which is probably one of the greatest replacements that ever existed in basketball. But
Right.
they had Harrison Barnes, and he was no short story. He's a good player. So if you look at those three guys, they're a little bit older, not quite as nimble. Kelly Oubre makes sense to have. He's a younger player. He's explosive, and he can be that Harrison Barnes type player in a more younger setting, in a more explosive setting. But in order for this trade to work for Karl-Anthony Towns, Kelly Oubre has to go to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and it's the only way it'll work. So yeah, I see like the Wiggins thing, like maybe they'll take Wiggins back, but what they could do honestly is they could go out and find a third team to dump Wiggins on, and then they could grab one of their players and maybe some draft picks or some money or something like that, and then Wiggins wouldn't have to be stuck in a weird situation going back to the team that traded him. That's probably a weird situation for anybody that played for one team and then a couple years later went right back to that team.
Right. Like reminiscence of like a Kurt Heinrich, but
Look,
more of a no name back and
Kurt
forth, back and
Heinrich
forth.
was just like, I'm either in Chicago or I'm in Atlanta. Just I bought houses at
Story of
both
his
places.
career, right?
So, but yeah, in order for that trade to work, Kelly Oubre, James Wiseman, I would take one of these younger guys that they have on there that's really showed some skill. Jordan Poole is that guy. I would put him in that trade. I think Toscano is somebody that should hang on to. Would be a great bench player. He's getting better and better as he's really young. So Jordan Poole is definitely someone you can trade away.
Let me throw this in there because what you're talking about, giving up younger assets or younger players just to make the trade look like, okay, something that is tempting that you want to, take a crack at or at least renegotiate. If the Warriors were to give up some of these younger pieces and they were able to work that into the salary cap to make this trade happen, I think they should go for it, because you also have to consider at that point, like you're saying, with Draymond, Clay, and Steph there, and then you're adding Karl-Anthony Towns, then you can also expect that some other league veteran is going to want to be added to that team during that process, either
exactly.
in the offseason or in the buyout market, because you are now very attractive to a team or a person that wants to win a chip, and they don't require a lot of salary, or they get bought out later in the season and it's like, you're the Nets now. You're like, you're better than the Nets possibly, because I want to get on that, and y'all have championship experience. Let me jump on board. So if you're going all in with some chips, yeah, you might want some younger pieces, but if your goal is to win while Steph Curry still has that window of opportunity and prime there, I say push the chips.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was thinking that, like, in the process, of trading, in this trade for Karl-Anthony Towns, Wiggins would get moved to an alternate team, and that alternate team would have a veteran they could give up at that point. That would be important for the Warriors to use.
Also
Whoever
make it
the
like a
veteran is.
3-team trade then.
Yeah, it'd be a 3-team trade. And I can't really think of anything off the top of my head of somebody that could really come in there and do something crazy right now, other than, and this is going to sound really crazy, as far as a veteran presence on the team that could really make some noise for the team in a very different role than this player is used to. But you send Wiggins to Houston, John Wall comes to Golden State.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You think, I haven't looked at it. You think those salaries might match up, or?
I think he's got a year left. I'm not sure, but if it matches up the right way, if he's at that point where his big contract that he signed with Washington is done, I'm not sure if that's actually a thing. This is just speculation. Then he could be like Aldridge and Drummond at this point and just be like, hey, well, Drummond's obviously probably going to get paid, but Aldridge is going to be on this veterans minimum riding the best team that looks like they're going to have a championship run for the next couple of seasons. So Wall needs to do that. Like where he is at right now, he's not going to do anything in Houston.
Right.
And he's past the point of being that veteran guy on a mediocre team or a crap team. I don't mean that in a bad way, but if they got Wall and Wall became their sixth man, he would almost turn into a Lou Williams. And this is a better Lou Williams.
And he could definitely get his rest in as far as, still recuperating from that Achilles injury.
Exactly. Him and Curry can swap out, and then he leads a second unit of young guys that he's used to playing with from being on these teams with these younger guys. He would be a really good pickup in that situation. And if somehow, I know this is even weirder, but if somehow you could get Detroit involved and maybe pick, it'd be really cool for Jeremy Grant, but he's going to want money. But if you could pick Mason Plumlee off of the Pistons and throw him on the Warriors, then you've got that, you've got another third solid big man like they like to run. So if they had Towns and Looney and Plumlee in their arsenal as far as big men go, Wall coming off the bench.
Contract? Do you remember, or was it
he signed? I don't know if it was 1 or 2 years, but it was a pretty hefty contract to be there.
Okay.
Like I said, I don't know. I kind of remember. But he's just another player that pops in my mind that would work well in the Warriors in their scheme in the way that they ball, being more like a more established, smarter as far as basketball IQ goes. Zaza Pachulia, like he's more smarter. Like he's not going to make crap fouls on people and get you in situations where it stirs up arguments and things like that.
Now you're making me think about different scenarios, not necessarily trade, but like if this player is to be bought out because they're not traded, maybe like Al Horford, his ball distributing skills, that would work well if he came off the bench in the scenario.
Now that you just said that would be, and you can actually kind of even cut John Wall out at this point. You don't even need him at that point because Al Horford can lead a unit of players. So
and we're willing to sell him.
Huh?
We're willing to sell them. All we want is just an abundance of picks.
The Warriors and knowing them, man, they'll give you what they have and probably go find somewhere else for you, and get Al Horford. Because honestly, if you had Al Horford coming off your bench, commanding, from the middle, like running plays from the middle, like Jokic. Al Horford's been doing that for years. I mean, Nikola Jokic is a phenomenal player, and he is a wonder. Like there's nobody else like him, obviously, and he's far better than Al Horford. But Al Horford was doing the same stuff, just at a lower skill level for a long time and making an impact. So that center that can facilitate is something that is still needed. And yeah, man, you threw him on the Warriors. So at that point, you sent Kelly Oubre to Minnesota. Andrew Wiggins, let's say Andrew Wiggins goes to you guys, to OKC.
Okay.
Jordan Poole to Minnesota. So that's 3 players there. Oh yeah, James Wiseman. James Wiseman. And then let's say a first-round pick to Minnesota, and then a future first-round pick to OKC and a future second-round pick to OKC. offer Al
Okay.
Horford. That makes sense, honestly. Or if they could somehow grab Kenrich Williams in the situation too, would be really cool. He's a good player. But yeah, that would be a good trade for the Warriors at that point, and that would boost their lineup. Curry and Thompson and Draymond, and then Cat, and then I guess they would just find maybe a free agent, someone that can slide in at that small forward position and start, and have Horford come off the bench with the young guys. But Bazemore, you can just leave Bazemore right there. Just keep him. He's perfect. He plays a great three. So, that's a good team.
That is a great team. I mean, they're talking about championship aspirations, and that's where the Warriors want to get to. And we heard Draymond Green say in this past offseason that, people are writing us off. We're not done. We're not done. They still feel like they have that window of opportunity to win the championship. If it wasn't for Clay having another injury, I mean, the way they're playing without Clay, even though looking at the record, they're in 10th seat, but that's just because of how competitive the West is. They've gone up against some heavy hitter teams and pulled off some wins. So you're talking about adding Karl-Anthony Towns. Like, this is the guy I always compare to Anthony Davis in some sort, but has the potential to be better than Anthony Davis if he keeps working at his game. He's definitely younger than Anthony Davis, another Kentucky product. But man, this guy, if he goes to the Warriors, he instantly becomes an all-star again just because of being on the Warriors. I mean, he's an all-star caliber player, but he didn't make the all-star team this past year, mostly due to injury. But you throw him on there, then now the Warriors have 4 all-stars again.
Yeah. And that's the thing, man. The Kentucky system and the big guys they've been putting out in the past couple of years, with Davis and then Cousins and Cauley-Stein and, of course, Karl-Anthony Towns. Man, you really
we just covered Bam.
Yeah, Bam. My bad. I'm sorry, Bam. Please forgive me. But yeah, I should not leave him out because he's one of those centers, man, that just they do what centers do, but they have this added skill. It's like when I don't know whether it's a Kentucky thing or not, whether they just
part of it is in Kentucky because John Calipari does a great job of getting his star players into the league. There's no doubt about that. He's been doing it ever since back in Memphis with D Rose, and then when he went to Kentucky, it's just been all, maybe except for the COVID here lately, the last year and a half. But outside of that, they get to the NBA.
Yeah, but yeah, Towns and that and Horford having that veteran presence, that's a better pickup than John Wall. Although the John Wall idea is intriguing.
The John Wall would be tempting if you're the Rockets. I mean,
yeah.
How much you want to sit on that guy if somebody's offering something that is available to you?
Yeah, but the truth of the matter probably is with the Rockets is they got Christian Wood, and he's a great player, and he's going to develop into a good player. He'll be an all-star, I think, eventually.
I definitely respect that. I think the same thing of him.
Yeah, he and Jeremy Grant are like my two guys that are like the unspoken guys that are about to like explode, like Booker was at one point in time. Randall, like Levine. These are the type of players that are exploding. Donovan Mitchell, that are going to take over the league here soon. You'll see the CP3 and the LeBron and the Carmelo and the James Harden, and these guys are going to eventually wean out. And Booker and Mitchell and these guys are going to be the guys running the league. And Grant and Wood are going to be right up there with them at that point in time. Obviously Luka too. I for some reason, man, I always forget Luka. Like I'd start talking about teams and I'm like, I forget about that guy, man. So I just feel really bad right now. And I'm just gonna, if by some weird reason Luka Doncic is listening to Kicking It in the Second Half right now, I am sorry.
It's okay. Hey, shout out to all the European players.
Man.
They have a struggle as far as making a case for being one of the best players in the league. It's just because they're a product that's not native to the land, not trying to discriminate, but it's hard when you see this guy this talented come into the league where he's been elsewhere and he has such a high profile versus, like you're saying, we hear Kentucky products, You see them go to Kentucky and you're instantly watching them within, the first sign of hearing about this player. But, sometimes you have to do a little digging on YouTube to find out about these international players. So, but yeah, shout out to Luka for sure.
Yeah, because we have the college system to watch. We have March Madness to watch, to see players coming up, and we don't have the ability really to watch the European League. I would love it if there was an app that showed nothing but European sports or like overseas sports. Like that would be so cool.
Let's go Disney Plus. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. Open up a segment of ESPN Plus, like ESPN Plus, like international, and we can watch like the international basketball leagues and see some of our older favorite NBA players balling out overseas, but then seeing guys overseas that are going to come to the NBA and be amazing, like Luka and Kristaps and Dirk was, and guys like that. That would be so cool, man. And not only basketball. I mean, there are athletes all over the world, like tennis, football. Like there are people that play football in places. Baseball is huge. That was the beginning one. I mean, there were people, overseas playing baseball in Japan that ended up being like some really amazing players in the MLB. So, man, a channel like that would let us see, a little bit more into our brothers and sisters out there, across seas, man. That would be cool.
Yeah, you're right. That would definitely help out for basketball scouting for, European countries. You're talking about Asian countries, Australia, New Zealand, Africa, might as well cover the rest of the world, maybe Canada, because there's a lot of ballers out there. Sometimes you see them if they transfer to high schools in America, like RJ Baird, just to give an example. South America. So, there's ballers all over the world, but, only the most unique and talented usually make it to the NBA. But I'm sure there's some that's been left out just because they didn't get the opportunity. What would the league be? Not trying to make another what if, but what would the league be if Giannis didn't come over? So, but yeah. But man, not that's going to be another what that might be another what if. But yeah, just to wrap this up with our segment on Golden State, we could go. All right, just to let y'all know, Micah and I have done this for years before podcasting, years and years of just what ifs. We're finally getting this out. And if you want to do some of these on your podcast, Micah, feel free. Don't feel like you're taking away from me
do some
at all. I mean, because we can do this forever. If y'all are into comics, definitely make sure you check out Micah on Tavern Geek. There's geek culture over there, but he does talk about sports. And like I said, I do try to make the sports segments. Sometimes I'm on the comic book segments if we're talking Marvel, but some people like to cross over Marvel and NBA or and just like hip hop culture like Wu-Tang. Mike is a big Wu-Tang fan. That crossover culture is pretty awesome to make it all relevant. But yeah, Mike, I'd like to give you a shout out. Well, shout out to Hugh because he wasn't here for the first episode of this, but he is the Warriors dude, the big Warriors fan, and we're talking about his team. And clearly, I don't have any Warriors gear here. You're repping the Falcons. Shout out to Atlanta. We got to do something for the Hawks big time. Maybe we'll do a PPF of Trae Young before the season ends. That would be dope. And maybe we could have you back, Micah. But yeah, thank y'all for joining KISH YZ for our very first What If episode. Give us a thumbs up if you like it. Leave in the comments any suggestions you might have that maybe we could talk about, and give us a sub if you want to stay up to date with our new drops, new releases, and hopefully more videos of these. But also, I want to give a shout out to Tavern Geek. And, like I said, you can find me over there on that podcast occasionally. And, I want to give it to the Tavern Geek himself to give his shout outs and where to find him. Shout out,
what's up, everybody. Man, actually, you can find me all kinds of places. Tavern Geek on Facebook. The best place to find me is on Twitter. Tavern Geek on Twitter at Mixmastic, because I had a really hard time trying to find a Twitter handle that said Tavern Geek. Everybody seems to have it. But I'm
tell them how to spell that Mixmastic.
Mixmastic. MIXMASTIC. Just
There you go. Simple.
Look for it. Yeah, I'm on Instagram at Tavern Geek. I'm also on Twitch and TikTok. But TikTok, you'll see a whole lot more of me doing beer reviews and maybe having some excited moments from Marvel stuff or sports stuff that's going on, like if the Suns win a game and I'm all hyped up running around the house. I'll be on TikTok. But the best way to find me is on Twitter, and find the rest of what we're doing on Tavern Geek, which D is a part of, and all that. Check us out on Facebook. Also, we have a Patreon, so go check out Patreon if you want to support us. I really want to give back to the community, and you guys help us, we'll help you. Like that's what it should be. So holler at me on Patreon, and that's it, man. I'm everywhere.
I appreciate it. I want to give a co-op shout out to Your Bud 36, because he is a streamer on Twitch. Check him out on Your Bud 36 at Twitch. He also has a YouTube channel under the same name. He reps for both of us, during this streaming community with the gamers over there. So if you like video game streams, check him out. But he's also featured on both of our podcasts and YouTube episodes there. Just a big shout out to him. And once again, I want to shout out to you, Micah, repping Tavern Geek, and hopefully I can get you on here at one point, and you and I, or if he's with us too, or whoever, we can do a PPF of Devin Booker. You're a big Suns fan. Shout out to Phoenix.
Devin Booker's my dude.
For sure. Another Kentucky product, just to end it. So.
Yes.
All right, everybody. This has been Kicking in the Second Half. Peace and love.
Peace. That's for Rob.